What's up, everybody? Trinity here, and welcome back to the Second Street Marvel for yet another comic book double feature review. And today I am going to be reviewing two of the new titles coming out for the Annihilation Scourge event, and those books are going to be Silver Surfer issue number 1 and Beta Ray Bill issue number 1. Now, as I said, these are part of the Annihilation Scourge event currently taking place in Marvel Comics. And first, we're going to talk about Silver Surfer issue number 1. Okay, guys, this book is being written by Dan Abnett. The artist is Paul Davidson. The colorist is Matt Milla, or Matt Mia. Could be wrong there. And it's lettered by VC's Clayton Cowles, and the cover artist is Jose Maria Casanovas, with the variant cover by Oscar Yildirim. I'm going to go ahead and show you those names because I can guarantee you I probably butchered at least one of those names. So I'll go ahead and show you that cover once again. Okay, guys, Annihilation Scourge. I'm going to have a few comments about these two books at the end. This series has largely been about how Annihilus escaped the negative zone and came to basically the positive zone to get help from Earth's, I guess not just Earth's mightiest heroes, but plenty of different heroes from the positive verse. I guess, just basically the regular Marvel universe after the negative zone had basically come under attack from the Sentry. And we learned a lot about that in the past couple of one-shot issues that are tying in to this miniseries. And here we see Silver Surfer as he is there, just kind of floating in space, thinking about his life and things that have gone on. Mentioned some events that have happened in the Silver Surfer Black series that is currently, I believe it just ended. As a matter of fact, I think it was a little 5-issue miniseries by Donny Cates. And as he is standing there, there's a hole torn in the fabric of time and space in which the ship starts to come through, and the ship is being utterly destroyed. Beings are being basically catapulted from the ship that's escaping, and he ends up finding this one person who is alive. Who is still alive there, just unconscious, and does what he can to help them and find out exactly what's going on. And that's when he ends up merging with this person, kind of getting their memories and saving their life. Is essentially what happens here. And he ends up going to landing on this planet and coming upon some of the creatures of the Cancerverse. And here we get. Yeah, you can see who he runs into there. He runs into Captain Marvel, and God, all of a sudden I forget Ronan's name. You like that? How I say I forget his name and I show you him? And he ends up getting in a fight with some of these other Kree warriors and things like that. It was a pretty good fight, and I really like the art in this book was really good as well. Quite liked it. And so, we see that he ends up fighting with these beings from the Cancerverse. He ends up winning this little battle, and then he ends up having to escape the planet. Because there are more people that end up coming down on him as he is leaving this planet after kicking some ass and taking, well, he didn't even take names. And that's when he ends up coming upon somebody else, where these beings didn't want to follow him. These beings from the Cancerverse didn't want to follow him, and he ends up meeting the actual I can't remember his name, Robert Reynolds, the actual Sentry, who we learned a little bit about in the Fantastic Four Annihilation Scourge tie-in, as well as, I believe we learned a little bit about him in the Annihilation Scourge Alpha as well. Guys, I like this book. I think this book right here is definitely the best issue out of the Annihilation Scourge books that I have read so far. This one is really good. I think if there's one you guys are going to read, this is definitely going to be the one to read. Again, I think, what are the other ones I already read? Fantastic Four and Nova, which I thought both of those books were pretty good as well. Silver Surfer, you might want to check that one out if you're wanting to keep up with this series. Again, I've I've liked the Annihilation Scourge so far. And that's really all I have for Annihilation Scourge. Silver Surfer, if you've read that one, please leave any comments down in the comment section and let's talk about this issue. Like I said, the art was good in it, the coloring was good in it. It was the best one of the Annihilation Scourge series so far. So, and let's talk about that in the comments below. The next one I want to talk about here is Beta Ray Bill, Annihilation Scourge, Beta Ray Bill, issue number 1. Again, all these are just one shots that are going to tie in to the overall series. I think there was like four of them, plus it was the Alpha, and then there's going to be the Omega tying this story together. The writer here is one I've been waiting to see because the writer is Michael Morecki. I think it's Morecki. I know the guy over at Robbie at Pop Culture Philosophers says it's Morisi. I could be wrong. I'm not for sure. I'm wrong. He's wrong. Who knows? The artist is Alberto Albuquerque. The colorist is J. David Ramos. And the letterer is VC's Joe Sabino. Jose Maria Casanovas is the cover artist. And Patch Zurcher and Mike Spicer are the variant cover artists. And this is the original cover. I'll go ahead and show you that once again. Very nice cover. And I've got to tell you, I was looking forward to this one because Michael Morecki or Morisi, whichever his name is, I like his writing. I've been reading several books by him, and that's in this one too. He did a good job writing this one. I like this book. We open up here with the on the book with this hole in time and space, the fabric being torn open by the Sentry right down here. You can kind of see that. Something that we learned a little bit about through the past couple of issues, and then we come upon we come here upon Beta Ray Bill, who is on this planet of what is the planet Gyrax. He is there, kind of partying, just kind of living it up, reveling in some victories that he had over this dragon here that was attacking the people there. Now the people, these what are they? Gyraxians. These people apparently only live for 10 years. They only live to be 10 years old, and then they end up dying, and that's just kind of something that they explain in this book. And like I said, you can go ahead and take a look at some of the art there and see what's going on here as they're reveling in their victories. And as they're sitting there, Beta Ray Bill is there with and I can't even remember the dog's name all of a sudden, from Lockjaw, from the Inhumans. He's there hanging out with them as well. Apparently he's been partnering up with Beta Ray Bill here for quite some time, and he's sitting there kind of like, as they're contemplating leaving, because they're just kind of getting a little bit bored, I guess you could say, doing nothing. Lockjaw is like, he smells something, and here's what he smells: he smells these incoming ships coming in, blasting through this tear in time and space through from the negative zone. And that's when Beta Ray Bill goes to find out exactly what's going on, when he is actually confronted by the Cancerverse version of Doctor Strange, and he ends up getting in a tussle, gets in a fight with quite a bit of the people here. Very good fight. Again, I like the art. The story in this book was really good as well. I gotta say, I quite like this one as well, along with the Silver Surfer book I was just talking about a minute ago. And that's when he ends up getting coming into contact with the Sentry, and ends up getting in a fight with him as well, and knows kind of the fact that he can't really necessarily fight against Sentry all by himself, but he does what he can to get Sentry away. He uses Stormbreaker, sends, I guess you could say he sends Sentry back through this rift, and then because of that, he ends up losing his power. And he thinks he's about to die, but that's when Lockjaw ends up coming to basically save him from falling just through time and space, and they end up going through a portal, traveling, so they can go and get more help and get his hammer back from Sentry. So this story will continue on. Guys, I gotta say, I really like this issue as well. I was looking forward to this one because it is being written by Michael Morecki, or Morisi, however you say it. However you say it, I feel bad because I love this dude's writing. He does great work. The art in this book is good. The coloring in this book is good. The story in this book is good. Guys, Annihilation Scourge has been a great mini-series. Now, I will say one thing about Marvel. They've been doing a bunch of little events and mini events here over this past year, and I've got to say, largely, a lot of them have fallen for me, flat on their face. I heard Absolute Carnage was pretty good. I didn't read it myself, but this series right here, it was doing God, what they do is it was four. I think it was with 4 little one shots. They had Annihilation Scourge Alpha. Then they've got they've got Nova, Silver Surfer, and Fantastic Four, and Beta Ray Bill, all in these one shots. And then they're gonna tie it all up, I believe, next week with Annihilation Scourge Omega. And they have pictures of that, here, all those right back here. So essentially, you've only got 6 issues that you have to read if you want to read this mini event. And guys, I gotta tell you, this is one worth reading. I mean, unless you're not into like the continuity stuff and like the timelines and stuff like that. I know my brother Chillmonger, he don't really like any of the alternate universe stuff and things like that. This series is actually really good. This is a series done right, a mini series done right, especially as compared to like 2099 going on right now. That's tying into the Amazing Spider-Man, which is just weird to me. But this series is really good. I would suggest reading this series if you haven't been keeping up with it. Again, these books have been really well handled, well written. The stories seemed pretty fleshed out. In one of the books, I didn't like the art so much. That was one that I reviewed, I believe, last week. But other than that, guys, this series has been really good. I think Annihilation Scourge is definitely one that you guys might want to check out, especially if you want something that's just a mini series, not an ongoing, and it tells a very good story. And they've got different people collaborating to bring these stories to life. Very good event. Marvel, this is how you need to do more of your events if you're going to do these mini events and things like that. I really like the Annihilation Scourge event. I think it's one that you guys should definitely go out to your local comic book shop and check out these books and and read them, because this is actually a pretty decent story going on here. But let me know down in the comments below, have you been reading the Annihilation Scourge event? If not, have you read any of these comic books that I was just talking about here today on this video? Let's talk about that down in the comments below. That's all I have for this video today, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning into this Second Street Marvel. If you're not already, please make sure you subscribe, and all that good stuff. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. That's just weird to me. We're just talking comics here, guys. But while you're at it, make sure you share it with a friend and invite them to come hang out with us here on the Second Street Marvel. You all have a very good day. Have a great rest of your week. Happy reading. Go out and read some comic books, guys. And we'll see you in the next video. Later.